The gymnasium smelled like sweat, rubber, and broken dreams. Maya stood at the entrance, her brother's duffel bag slung over her shoulder, watching the basketball team run drills. She wasn't supposed to be here. Samuel had specifically told her to stay away from practice, but he'd left his knee brace at home, and their mother had insisted she bring it. She scanned the court for her brother's familiar figure, his number 7 jersey usually easy to spot. But instead, her eyes caught on someone else entirely. Number 15, Xavier Torres. Even from across the gym, she could feel the intensity radiating off him as he drove toward the basket, his movements fluid and confident. He made the shot, and the ball swished through the net with a satisfying snap. Looking for someone, or just enjoying the view? Maya jumped, turning to find Coach Richardson beside her, a knowing smile on his weathered face. "My brother forgot his knee brace," she said quickly, holding up the bag. "Is he here?" "Locker room." Taping his ankle, the coach nodded toward the back hallway. "You can leave it with me if you want, thanks, but I'll just give it to him myself." She moved along the side of the court, keeping close to the bleachers, trying to be invisible. But invisibility was impossible when Xavier Torres chose to notice you. He caught the ball mid-drill, his dark eyes locking onto hers across the hardwood. For a moment, the entire gym seemed to fall away. His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile, more like a challenge. "Torres, focus." Coach Richardson barked. Xavier's attention snapped back to the game, but Maya could still feel the weight of his gaze like a physical touch. She hurried toward the locker room hallway, her heart beating faster than it should. Samuel emerged just as she reached the corridor, his ankle freshly wrapped. His face hardened when he saw her. "What are you doing here, Maya?" "Mom sent me." "You forgot this." She handed him the bag. "You're welcome, by the way." Her brother's jaw clenched as he glanced back toward the court. "Did anyone see you?" "It's a public school, Samuel. I'm allowed to exist in the building. You know what I mean." His voice dropped lower. "Did he see you?" Maya didn't need to ask who he meant. The rivalry between Samuel and Xavier had defined her brother's entire senior year. It had started on the court, but had spread like wildfire into everything else: class rankings, college scouts, even the attention of Coach Richardson. Samuel wore his hatred for Xavier like a second skin. "I don't know. Maybe. Does it matter?" "Yes, it matters." Samuel gripped her arm, not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough to make his point. "Stay away from him, Maya. I mean it. That guy would do anything to get under my skin, and if he thinks he can use you to do it. I'm not a weapon in your stupid rivalry." Maya cut him off, pulling her arm free. "And I'm not a child. I can handle myself. You don't know him like I do. And you don't know me like you think you do." She turned on her heel and walked away, frustration bubbling in her chest. Samuel had always been protective, but lately it had morphed into something controlling. Ever since their father died 2 years ago, her brother had appointed himself the man of the house, and Maya was tired of it. She pushed through the side doors of the gym, gulping in the cool October air. The afternoon sun hung low in the sky, painting everything in shades of amber and rust. She started across the parking lot toward her car, keys already in hand. "Hey!" She knew that voice before she turned around. Xavier jogged toward her, still in his practice gear, a sheen of sweat making his brown skin glow in the autumn light. Up close, he was taller than she'd realized, and there was something disarming about the way he looked at her, like she was a puzzle he genuinely wanted to solve. "You're Samuel's sister, right?" "Maya, and you're Xavier Torres, my brother's least favorite person." He laughed, a warm sound that didn't match the intimidating player she'd watched on the court. "Yeah, I get that a lot. Well, from Samuel anyway. Most people actually like me. Modest too. Confidence isn't the same as arrogance." He tilted his head, studying her. "You don't look anything like him. Is that supposed to be a compliment?" "Depends. Are you as stubborn as he is?" Maya felt a smile tugging at her lips despite herself. "More dangerous." Xavier's eyes sparkled with something that made her stomach flip. "I like it. You shouldn't be talking to me." "Why not?" "Because my brother would lose his mind, and apparently you two have enough drama already." Xavier's expression shifted, becoming more serious. Can I tell you something? And will you actually hear me? Not just what Samuels told you about me. Maya hesitated. Every instinct told her to walk away, to get in her car and pretend this conversation never happened. But there was something genuine in Xavier's voice, something that made her curious. Okay, I don't hate your brother. I never did. We're competitive, yeah. We both want to win. We both want the scholarship. We both want to prove we're the best. But Samuel's the one who made it personal. I've tried to talk to him, tried to just let us both do our thing, but he can't separate basketball from real life. He says you sabotaged his recruitment video. Xavier's face darkened. I had nothing to do with that. His camera malfunctioned during the shoot. That's not my fault, but he blamed me anyway. He blames me for everything that goes wrong in his life, and I'm tired of being his excuse. Maya wanted to defend her brother, but something in Xavier's voice rang true. She'd noticed it herself, the way Samuel had become increasingly paranoid, seeing Xavier's hand in every setback. Why are you telling me this? Because you seem like someone who thinks for herself, and because he paused, running a hand through his dark hair. I don't know. I saw you in there, and I just wanted to talk to you. Is that crazy? Probably, yeah. He smiled again, softer this time. Probably, they stood there in the parking lot as students streamed past them as the sun sank lower in the sky as the world continued spinning around them. Maya knew she should leave. Every second she stood there talking to Xavier was a betrayal in Samuel's eyes. But she didn't move. I should go. She finally said, not meaning it, you should. Xavier agreed, not moving either. This can't happen. What can happen? Whatever this is. Xavier's smile turned sad. Yeah, I know, but when he asked for her number, she gave it to him. And when her phone buzzed 20 minutes later with a text that just said, hey, she responded. And when he asked if she wanted to meet up somewhere away from school, somewhere Samuel wouldn't see them, she said yes even though she knew she shouldn't. The coffee shop was in the next town over, a little place called Brew Haven that Maya had never been to before. She arrived first, ordering a vanilla latte and claiming a corner table where she could see the door. Her leg bounced nervously under the table. This was insane. If Samuel found out, he would never forgive her. But Maya was 18 years old, and she was tired of living her life according to her brother's grudges. Xavier walked in 10 minutes later, now in jeans and a dark green hoodie that made his eyes look almost gold. He spotted her immediately, his face breaking into a grin that made her heart skip. You came, he said, sliding into the seat across from her. You sound surprised. I thought you might chicken out. I still might. He ordered a black coffee, then turned his full attention to her in a way that made Maya feel seen, really seen, for the first time in a long time. So tell me about you, Xavier said, and not the stuff I could learn from social media. Real stuff, like what? Like what you want to do with your life, what you dream about, what makes you happy. Maya wasn't used to this kind of direct interest. Boys at school usually talked at her, not to her. They usually wanted to discuss themselves, not learn about her. I want to be a journalist, she said. Investigative reporting, the kind that actually matters. I want to tell stories that change things. That's amazing. What kind of stories? Social justice, environmental issues, the things people want to ignore. She wrapped her hands around her warm cup. Everyone thinks I should do something more practical, more stable. But I don't want stable. I want meaningful. Xavier leaned forward, genuinely engaged. That's exactly how I feel about basketball. Everyone sees it as just a game, but for me, it's about legacy. My dad played overseas. My uncle played in college. I want to make it to the NBA not just for myself, but for them, for my community. I want kids who look like me to see what's possible. They talked for 2 hours straight about family and pressure and expectations, about the weight of being the one everyone depends on. Xavier told her about his mother working 2 jobs to support him and his 3 younger siblings. Maya told him about the hole her father had left, the way grief had changed the architecture of their entire family. Samuel thinks he has to be dad now, Maya said softly. And I get it, I do. But he's suffocating me. Every decision I make, he has an opinion about. Every friend I have, he scrutinizes. And now this thing with you, it's like he's built this whole narrative where you're the villain. And it's easier for him to hate you than to deal with his own insecurities. Xavier reached across the table, his hand hovering near hers but not quite touching. I wish he could see that we don't have to be enemies. There's room for both of us to succeed. He won't see it. You're his measuring stick now. Everything he does is about proving he's better than you. And what about you? Xavier's voice was gentle. What do you see when you look at me? Maya met his eyes, those deep brown eyes that held so much warmth and intensity. I see someone who's nothing like what I expected. Someone I want to keep talking to even though I know I shouldn't. His fingers finally closed around hers, warm and certain. Then keep talking to me. Let's figure this out together. They met 3 more times over the next 2 weeks, always away from school, always in secret. Each meeting felt like stolen treasure, precious because it was forbidden. They texted late into the night, conversations that ranged from silly to profound. Xavier sent her photos of sunrises before early practice, and Maya sent him articles she was working on for the school paper, but secrets have a way of rotting from the inside out. And Maya could feel the guilt eating at her. She'd never lied to Samuel before, not about anything that mattered. Every time he asked where she'd been or what she'd been doing, the deception sat bitter on her tongue. The breaking point came at the homecoming game. Maya sat in the stands with her mother and her best friend Tesser, watching Samuel and Xavier battle it out on the court. The rivalry between them had intensified, every play charged with extra aggression, every foul sharper than necessary. In the final quarter, with the score tied, Samuel drove toward the basket. Xavier moved to block him, their bodies colliding hard. Samuel hit the ground wrong, his ankle twisting beneath him. The crack echoed through the gymnasium. Maya was out of her seat before she realized she was moving, rushing down the bleachers as the coaches and athletic trainers surrounded her brother. But her eyes kept darting to Xavier, who stood frozen at center court, his face stricken with horror. I didn't mean to, she heard him say to Coach Richardson. It was a clean play, I swear. I know, Torres. It was an accident. Get back to the bench. But Samuel didn't see it that way. As they helped him off the court, his face twisted with pain and rage. He locked eyes with Xavier and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "You did this on purpose, you bastard. You couldn't beat me fair, so you tried to break me," the crowd murmured. Xavier's face went pale. Maya felt her heart crack down the middle. At the hospital, the diagnosis came back as a severe sprain, not a break, but serious enough to keep Samuel out for weeks. He sat in the emergency room bed, his ankle wrapped and elevated, his expression dark as a thundercloud. This is exactly what he wanted, Samuel said bitterly. Now the scouts will only see him. Now he gets the spotlight all to himself. It was an accident, Maya said quietly. I saw the replay on the screen. He was just playing defense. Samuel's head whipped toward her. Why are you defending him? I'm not defending anyone. I'm just telling you what I saw. You don't know him, Maya. You don't know what he's capable of. But she did know him. She knew the way he worried about letting his family down. She knew he volunteered at the youth center every Saturday morning, teaching basketball to kids who couldn't afford summer camps. She knew he stayed up late helping his little sister with her math homework. She knew he texted Maya goodnight every single evening, and that he remembered she took her coffee with vanilla syrup, and that she was allergic to shellfish. She knew Xavier Torres was nothing like the monster her brother had created in his mind that night. She texted Xavier, "He's going to be okay. Severe sprain, out for 3 to 4 weeks." His response came immediately, "Thank God. I've been sick thinking about it." Is he furious with me? Yes. Are you? Maya stared at her phone screen for a long time before typing. No, but we need to talk. They met at their coffee shop the next morning before school. Xavier looked like he hadn't slept, his eyes red-rimmed and worried. I would never hurt him on purpose, Xavier said before Maya could even sit down. I know he doesn't believe me, but I need you to believe me. I'm not that person. I know you're not. Maya slid into the booth across from him. But Xavier, we can't keep doing this. Every time we're together, I feel like I'm betraying my brother. And now with his injury, he's going to be even more paranoid about you, even more convinced you're out to destroy him. So what are you saying? I'm saying maybe Samuel's right. Maybe we shouldn't be talking to each other. Xavier's face fell. You don't mean that. I do. I have to. He's my brother, Xavier. He's all I have left of my dad. I can't choose you over him. I'm not asking you to choose. Xavier reached for her hand, but she pulled it back. I'm asking you to let yourself be happy. To stop living your life according to his fears and insecurities. That's easy for you to say. He's not your family. No, but you could be. The words hung in the air between them, too big and too true. Maya felt tears burning behind her eyes. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Maya. But that doesn't mean we can't fight for something good when we find it. Xavier's voice cracked slightly. I'm falling for you. I know it's fast. I know it's complicated, but it's real. And I think you feel it too. She did. God help her. She did. Every moment with Xavier felt right in a way nothing else in her life did anymore. But how could she explain that to Samuel? How could she make him understand? I need time, she whispered. I need to figure this out. Xavier nodded slowly. Okay, but Meyer? Don't take too long. Life's too short to waste being miserable because we're scared of what other people think. The next 3 weeks were torture. Samuel's injury had only intensified his bitterness, and he spent every evening watching Xavier lead the team to victory after victory. His jaw clenched so tight Maya worried he'd crack his teeth. She tried to talk to him, tried to suggest that maybe his hatred of Xavier had become unhealthy, but he shut her down every time. Meanwhile, Xavier respected her request for space. But she could feel his absence like a physical ache. She missed their late-night conversations. She missed the way he made her laugh. She missed feeling understood. Tessa cornered her at lunch one day, sliding into the seat across from Maya with a knowing look. Okay, spill. What's going on with you? Nothing. I'm fine. You're a terrible liar. Is this about Xavier Torres? Maya's head snapped up. What? No, why would you say that? Because I saw you two at Brew Haven 3 weeks ago. I was picking up coffee on my way to visit my aunt in Morrison, and there you were, looking at him like he hung the moon. Maya's heart sank. You didn't tell Samuel, of course not. I'm your friend, not his spy. Tessa leaned forward. But Maya, what are you doing? You know how Samuel feels about him. Samuel's wrong about him. Xavier's not the person he thinks he is. Maybe, but you're playing with fire here. If Samuel finds out, I know. That's why I ended it. Did you, though? Tessa raised an eyebrow. Because you look like someone who's grieving, not someone who made the right choice. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to do, Tess. I really like him. But Samuel's my brother. How do I choose? Who says you have to choose? Look, I get that Samuel's protective, and I get that he and Xavier have this whole rivalry thing. But you're 18 years old, Maya. You're not responsible for managing your brother's feelings. If Xavier makes you happy, if he treats you right, then that should matter. But it'll destroy my relationship with Samuel. Maybe Tessa reached across the table and squeezed her hand. Or maybe it'll force him to grow up and realize the world doesn't revolve around his grudges. Either way, you can't live your life avoiding happiness because you're afraid of his reaction. That night, Maya lay in bed, Tessa's words echoing in her mind. She picked up her phone and scrolled through her conversation history with Xavier. Months of messages, of late-night talks, of getting to know someone who saw her as herself. Not just as Samuel's sister. She opened a new message and typed, I miss you. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, I miss you too. Every day. Can we meet tomorrow? After school? Are you sure? No, but I'm tired of being careful. I'm tired of being afraid. The next afternoon, Maya drove to Xavier's game without telling Samuel. She sat high in the bleachers, watching him play with a grace and intensity that took her breath away. When he made the winning shot, she cheered louder than anyone. After the game, she waited by his car in the parking lot. When he emerged from the locker room and saw her standing there, his entire face lit up. "You came," he said, jogging over to her. "I came." Maya smiled, nervous but certain. "And I'm done hiding. I'm done pretending I don't care about you because it's easier for everyone else." Xavier cupped her face in his hands, his touch gentle and reverent. "What about Samuel?" "Samuel and I will figure it out. Or we won't, but either way, I'm choosing myself this time. I'm choosing what makes me happy and what makes you happy. This, you, us." He kissed her then, right there in the parking lot where anyone could see, where Samuel's teammates were still filing out of the gym. It was soft and sweet and tasted like promise. "We should probably tell him before he hears it from someone else," Xavier murmured against her lips. "I know, tonight." They drove separately to Maya's house, Xavier giving her a 20-minute head start. She found Samuel in his room, watching game footage on his laptop, his injured ankle propped up on pillows. "Hey," she said from the doorway. "Can we talk?" "About what?" Maya took a deep breath and stepped into the room, closing the door behind her. "About Xavier." Samuel's expression hardened immediately. "What about him?" "I've been seeing him for the past month. And before you explode, I need you to listen to me. Are you kidding me right now?" Samuel's voice rose. "You've been sneaking around with that asshole behind my back?" "He's not an asshole, Samuel. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He's kind and thoughtful and ambitious and trying to get to me through you." Samuel slammed his laptop shut. "Don't you see what he's doing? This is just another way for him to win. This isn't about you." Maya's voice rose to match his. "For once in your life, can you consider that something isn't about your rivalry with Xavier? I like him. He likes me. This has nothing to do with basketball or competition or your bruised ego. My bruised ego. Maya, that guy has made my life hell for 2 years. No, Samuel, you've made your own life hell by turning every interaction with him into a battle. He tried to be friends with you. He tried to just coexist. But you couldn't handle the fact that someone might be as good as you, so you created this whole narrative where he's the villain." Samuel stared at her, his face red with anger. "I can't believe you're taking his side." "I'm not taking anyone's side. I'm trying to tell you that your version of reality isn't accurate. Xavier didn't sabotage your recruitment video. He didn't mean to hurt you during the game. He's just a person trying to succeed, same as you. And I'm tired of hating him on your behalf when he's never done anything to deserve it. So what? You're just going to date him? You're going to throw away our family for some guy?" "I'm not throwing away our family." Maya's voice cracked. "You're the one making me choose. You're the one saying I have to hate who you hate and see the world exactly the way you see it. But I'm my own person, Samuel. And I'm allowed to make my own decisions, even if you don't like them." The doorbell rang. Maya's heart stuttered. "That's him, isn't it?" Samuel's voice was cold. "You brought him here. I thought we should all talk. Face to face. Like adults." Samuel laughed bitterly. "You've got to be kidding me." Maya left his room and went downstairs to answer the door. Xavier stood on the porch, looking nervous but determined. "He knows," Maya said quietly. "And he's furious. I figured." Xavier took her hand. "But we're doing this together, right?" Together, they found Samuel in the living room, having hobbled downstairs on his crutches. He stood by the window, his posture rigid with anger. "Samuel," Xavier started, his voice calm and steady. "I know you don't want to hear this, but I need to say it anyway. I'm sorry for whatever I did to make you hate me. I'm sorry if my ambition felt like a personal attack. But I'm not sorry for getting to know your sister. And I'm not sorry for caring about her. You don't get to come into my house, and I do." Actually, Xavier's voice was firm but not aggressive. "Because Maya invited me. And because despite what you think, I'm not your enemy. I never was. We're just two guys trying to make something of ourselves, and there's room for both of us to succeed. You took my spot, No, I earned my spot. Just like you earned yours. The scouts aren't comparing us, Samuel. They're evaluating us individually. Your success doesn't depend on my failure, and mine doesn't depend on yours. Samuel's jaw worked, his eyes bright with unshed tears. And now you're taking my sister. I'm not taking anyone. Maya makes her own choices. She's not a prize to be won or lost. She's a person with her own thoughts and feelings, and maybe you should start respecting that. The room fell silent. Maya held her breath, waiting for Samuel's response. Her brother looked between her and Xavier, his expression cycling through anger, hurt, and finally, something like resignation. Do you really care about her? Samuel asked finally. Or is this just about beating me at something else? Xavier looked at Maya, his eyes soft and honest. I care about her more than I've ever cared about anyone. She's funny and brilliant and sees the world in a way that makes me want to be better. Being with her has nothing to do with you, Samuel. For once in my life, something is just about me being happy, not about our competition. Maya felt tears streaming down her face. She looked at her brother, pleading. I love you, Samuel. You're my family, and you always will be. But I can't live my life trying to please you. I can't avoid happiness because it makes you uncomfortable. Dad wouldn't want that for either of us. At the mention of their father, Samuel's face crumpled slightly. He was quiet for a long moment, then he sighed heavily and sank onto the couch. Dad would probably tell me I'm being an idiot. He admitted quietly, yeah, he probably would. Maya agreed, a watery smile crossing her face. Samuel looked at Xavier, his expression still guarded, but less hostile. If you hurt her, I'll destroy you, fair enough. But I won't hurt her, and this rivalry between us doesn't have to be personal anymore, Xavier finished. We can compete on the court and be civil off it. We can both want to win without needing the other to lose at life. Samuel nodded slowly, like he was processing something he'd never considered before. This is going to take me a while to get used to. I know, Maya said gently, sitting beside her brother. But we'll figure it out together, like family. 3 months later, Maya stood in the gymnasium, watching Xavier and Samuel lead their team to the state championship. The rivalry between them had transformed into something different, something almost like mutual respect. They pushed each other to be better, but the hatred had drained away, replaced by a grudging acknowledgement that they made the team stronger together. When the final buzzer sounded and they won, Maya cheered so loud her voice went hoarse. She watched Xavier embrace Samuel on the court, both of them grinning with the pure joy of victory, and her heart felt full enough to burst. After the celebration died down, Xavier found her in the parking lot, still in his uniform, sweaty and triumphant. Hey, champion, she said, smiling up at him. Hey yourself. He pulled her close, kissing her softly. Thanks for being here. Where else would I be? I don't know. Sometimes I still can't believe this is real. That you chose this, chose us, even when it was hard. Maya wrapped her arms around his neck. Best decision I ever made. Even with all the drama? Especially with all the drama. The good stuff is always worth fighting for. Xavier smiled, that warm, genuine smile that had made her fall for him in the first place. I love you, Maya. I love you too. They stood there in the parking lot, surrounded by celebrating teammates and families, and Maya thought about how far they'd all come. Samuel had learned that life wasn't zero-sum, that someone else's success didn't diminish his own. Xavier had learned that vulnerability wasn't weakness, that opening his heart was braver than any game he'd ever played. And Maya had learned that choosing herself wasn't selfish, that her happiness mattered just as much as anyone else's. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. Samuel and Xavier would face new challenges, new competitions. College loomed on the horizon with all its uncertainties. But whatever came next, Maya knew they'd face it together, all three of them, navigating the complicated, messy, beautiful reality of choosing love over fear, connection over division. And in the end, that was all that really mattered.